Does it ever turn into a never-ending cycle for you of pushing past your limits until you feel frazzled, anxious, burnt out, and overwhelmed? When you're a high achiever with high functioning anxiety, it is really easy to push past your limits to a place where you are overworking and not respecting your needs. And in this episode, I'm going to be discussing 4 tips to help you stop overworking when you struggle with high functioning anxiety. And some of them might be surprising to you. Welcome to Calmly Coping and welcome back if you're returning. My name is Tati and I am a licensed therapist and a high-functioning anxiety coach, and I help high achievers overcome high-functioning anxiety so they can finally stop overthinking everything. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's easy to say, let me just finish this one last thing, or I just need to fix this one thing and it definitely can't wait until tomorrow. Or to think, let me just finish all my work and then I can relax, but not until I finish everything. Is it easy for you to justify overworking because you can't stop thinking about work, or because of a fear that if you stop working, then things aren't going to get done or that you're going to fail? The fact of the matter is that your overworking is not resulting in you getting more work done and getting further ahead, but it's really just resulting in you disregarding your mental health and burning yourself out. And I just want to note, it is absolutely possible to go through phases and periods of time where you are pushing yourself harder and working more, but it is absolutely essential to balance these phases with periods of rest and recovery. It's all about listening to yourself and what your body needs to feel rested, calm, and at its full capacity, because that's what's going to help you get the best work done anyway. Now, here are my 4 tips to help you stop overworking with high-functioning anxiety. Tip number 1 is to challenge your beliefs. So you may have beliefs under the surface that are influencing your thoughts and behaviors without you even realizing it. Limiting beliefs are false beliefs that prevent you from pursuing your goals and desires. Some examples of these limiting beliefs include, I can't relax unless I've been productive. If I don't get this done, then I'm going to fail. If I take a break, that means that I'm lazy. I need to work hard and struggle to get ahead. I need to be productive every day. These are beliefs that you might have learned at some point in your life, whether it was from important adults, societal messages, or your culture. And the thing is, you may hold these beliefs without even realizing it, and they can be influencing your behaviors and your thoughts without you even realizing it as well. One way you can challenge your limiting beliefs is to write them down and really challenge them. Act as though you're a detective and really try to get to the root of what this limiting belief is and whether or not it's valid. So let's look at the limiting belief, I can't relax unless I've been productive. Start by looking at the facts. Is it really true that you cannot relax unless you've been productive? Who created this rule? When did you first start to believe this? And what will happen if you relax without having been productive? Will it mean that you aren't good enough or worthy enough as a person? Will it mean that you're going to start being hard on yourself and harsh and critical and beat yourself up for not having been productive? Keep digging deeper and questioning these beliefs. The reality is that there is no rule that says that you need to be productive in order to relax. You don't need to earn relaxation. And sometimes we can make this false connection that we need to in our minds. You might experience difficult emotions that come up when you do relax, such as guilt and fear, but the reality is that these are just emotions and you can cope with and manage them, and they won't last forever. They might feel uncomfortable, but you can certainly cope with them. So I can't relax unless I've been productive might become, I don't need to earn relaxation. Relaxing makes me more productive. As a final step, take that new belief and become best friends with it. Write it down on a regular basis. Put it somewhere where you're going to be able to see it. So maybe it's on a bulletin board or refrigerator or on your phone background as a wallpaper. Repeat it daily as an affirmation, and over time you will be able to rewrite your limiting beliefs into empowering beliefs. I want to take a quick break to mention my free resource. I have a free guide to help you overcome high-functioning anxiety. It is the essential guide that you need in order to get to your root fears and really uncover what is causing that cycle of high-functioning anxiety for you. And I will walk you through this step by step with my simple steps along with a checklist. You can get this at hfaguide.com or by clicking on the link in the description. Tip number 2 is to increase your self-worth. Your self-worth isn't tied to your work, no matter how successful you are or how much you do. But somewhere along the line, you may have learned this. Maybe it was when you received positive feedback when you did well in school or on a project in work, or when your parents provided you praise for getting good grades. And as a result, you may have tied these achievements to how you felt about yourself and how good you felt as a person. You might have become reliant on achievements to feel good or to feel good enough. Self-worth is defined as the sense of one's own value or worth as a person. It's the feeling that you are worthy of love and acceptance. And the reality is that you don't need to do anything or become anyone in order to be worthy or valuable as a person and in order to be worthy of love. You are worthy and valuable just as you are. You don't need to work harder or do more in order to prove that to yourself or to anybody else. When you can work on increasing your self-worth from within, then that can help you to stop the cycle of seeking external validation from accomplishments, achievements, or success. Increasing your self-worth can be as simple as speaking kindly to yourself and coming from a place of self-compassion. It can also help to remember that each and every person deserves to rest and care for themselves. You are worth more than your work, and your worth is not determined by how hard you work. Tip number 3 is to set clear boundaries. One important way to stop overworking with high-functioning anxiety is to set clear boundaries between your work life and your personal life. I know that everybody's situation is different, and especially if you're an entrepreneur or if you work from home, it can be even harder to set these boundaries. But it is in this case that it is even more important to set these boundaries. Try setting specific work hours and plan to stay focused during these times, with a plan to take 15-minute breaks to 30 to 60-minute breaks every 1.5 to 3 hours so that you're taking time to recharge. Make certain rules to create balance in your life, such as not checking work email, let's say before 8 a.m. and after 6 p.m., depending on your work hours. And make sure that you're clear with other people in your life, including your boss, coworkers, clients, and family members, and let them know when they can expect to hear from you so that you're setting that expectation up front. And that can help to relieve a lot of the pressure that you might feel to respond to people at all hours. And it can also help to clear up, especially if you work with clients, so they have an understanding of your working hours and availability. These simple changes can make a big difference when it comes to help you stop overworking. But the most important part is that you hold yourself accountable. Put it in your calendar, set a daily schedule for yourself, and do things that are going to help you to stick to it, because that's the only way that it's going to work. Also, I suggest taking at least one day completely off from work per week, because you deserve it. You deserve to give your mind, your body, and everything else a break to recharge and get ready for the week ahead. Tip number 4 is to regularly assess what you're doing and check in with yourself. Ask yourself, is this necessary to do right now? Because sometimes it's easy to get stuck in that cycle of always feeling like you want to get ahead or do more, and so that you can relax at some point later in the future. But the reality is that this point never comes, because then when you reach that point, then you're constantly thinking, well, how can I get ahead now? Or how can I do more now? Or it can be the opposite way, that if you always feel like you're behind, then you feel like you'll never get to that point where you're able to relax. So rather than feeling like you need to be 5 steps ahead or even 1 step ahead, sometimes it is worth prioritizing your mental health and your physical health so that you're taking the time to rest. And it's okay to choose your mental health in favor of getting things done. Anytime you feel pressured to overwork, do a gut check and ask yourself, is this really necessary? Assess your emotions and how you're feeling. Are you working from a place of fear? Maybe it's fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, fear of judgment, fear of uncertainty, or are you working to avoid difficult emotions, thoughts, or problems in other areas of your life? If the underlying intention behind your work is fear and avoidance, then it is time to take a break and check in with yourself. Take time for yourself and to do things that you truly enjoy, and your work will be waiting for you when you get back. Now, at this point, you learn my 4 tips for how to stop overworking with high-functioning anxiety. Practice these tips regularly so you can stop overworking and finally start taking care of yourself. Things don't change unless you put them into action. So make a plan so that you can implement some of these tips within the next week and see if you notice any changes, even from making these small, simple changes in your life. And leave me a comment below and let me know your thoughts about overworking. Do you struggle with overworking, and what does that look like for you? And if you're a high achiever and you're interested in diving deeper and getting my one-to-one support to help you overcome high-functioning anxiety so you can maximize your potential, then you can go to calmlycoping.com/coaching or click on the link in the description. And while you wait for next week's episode, I have other episodes about decreasing anxiety, adopting a healthy mindset, and managing your time and energy. So you can watch these videos here to see more. And until next time, be calm.